Life is so dumb.
6 rounds. TJ Hoshimazode. Yes. Lock it up.
Who?
What? TJ, how's vanilla? All right. TJ, who's your mama?
You mean TJ Hushmanzada from the Bengals?
Put him on the board. Hoshimazoli. Got it. Championship.
Make sure to join the Armchair Quarterbacks right here. We'll answer all your questions, pickups, trades, you name it. You want to win your league? Then listen to the Armchair Quarterbacks.
Fantasy football time.
This is Jim Rome. Join me in the jungle for your phone calls and the biggest names in sports. Stop by weekdays, noon until 3 Eastern, 9 to noon Pacific.
Enjoy sun-drenched days, epic stays, and plenty of river roam in Greater Fort Lauderdale. Our hotels, attractions, and restaurants have taken the Visit Lauderdale's Safe and Clean pledge, so you can relax and explore with confidence. When you are ready for that well-deserved staycation, our 23 miles of golden beaches await. Find wide-open spaces to hike, bike, kayak, and paddleboard. Visit your favorite attractions, then dine out in style in socially distanced dining rooms or al fresco on waterfront patios. Learn more at sunny.org.
Hi, this is Britney Spears.
What up, this Jay-Z.
This is Jennifer Lopez. Armchair.
This portion of the show is being brought to you by our mystery sponsor, a product that is so good that they're paying us to keep anyone from associating it with this program.
Well, hey there, pal. First draft?
How can you tell?
Look, there's a few things you're going to want to know. Kickers go fast. You're going to take one early. And don't worry about running backs. You can always trade for one later.
Cool, thanks.
One more thing. It's good to have you here. You're my friend.
Armchair.
The Armchair Quarterbacks are covering America's pastime from spring training all the way to the Fall Classic.
5-2 Dodgers in the ninth. Got him. They've done it. Like the 1969 Mets. It's the impossible dream revisited.
And Myers bringing it. And the pitch is hit in the air. Foul off first. Benzinger backing and calling. And the 1990 World Championship belongs to the Cincinnati Reds.
The Twins are going to win the World Series. The Twins have won it. It's a base hit. It's a 1-0 10-inning victory.
Go! Left field! Way back! Blue Jays win it! The Blue Jays are World Series champions! As Joe Carter hits a 3-run home run in the 9th inning, and the Blue Jays have repeated as World Series champions. Touch them all, Joe. You'll never hit a bigger home run in your life.
Armchair.
We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, and flat out deceived.
There's something kind of about a kid that's never played baseball.
But what the hell, boy?
Make sure to listen to the Armchair Quarterbacks. Good enough for us down here in the bayou. Go Tigers and the Armchair Quarterbacks.
It's morning.
Yes, and what a lovely morning. Good morning.
Good morning. We've talked the whole night through.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You still have Gronkowski and Hernandez to deal with at the tight end position. And don't forget Danny Woodcock out of the backfield. Danny Woodcock. I'm done.
Armchair.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on CBS Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
Good morning, and this is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. The Denver Nuggets, 41st pick in the NBA draft 7 years ago, was named the most valuable player in the NBA yesterday. Nikola Jokic had this to say after being honored with the award. Quote, "To be honest, I didn't even think about being in the NBA. Inside the NBA, my goal when I started to play basketball back home was to play in the Euro League. That was the closest top league in my country. I could play in some big clubs in Serbia and grind my way up. But when the Denver Nuggets drafted me, it was an opportunity of a lifetime for me to be an NBA player." Jokic is the first player drafted in the second round to win MVP in the common draft era since 1966. Moses Malone, who won 3 MVPs, started his career in the ABA and is technically an undrafted NBA player, but we all know better than that. Jokic averaged 26.5 points a game for 12th in the league, 10.5 rebounds for 9th in the league, 8.3 assists for 6th in the league, and his PER was 31.36, which was #1 in the NBA. Major League Baseball gets going today at 2:05 Eastern. It's the Giants at the Rangers, Gibson to take the mound. 3:37, D-backs at the Athletics with Sean Manaea on the hill. And at 4:10, the Cubs are at the Padres. Yu Darvish versus Arrieta finishes up the day games. At 7:05, the Atlanta Braves are at the Philadelphia Phillies. Davidson makes his 3rd start of the year against Eflin. And at 7:05 Eastern, the Mets and Orioles, Harvey versus Walker, Dodgers and Pirates, Anderson on the hill for Pittsburgh. At 7:10, you got the Astros versus the Red Sox, Odorizzi and Eovaldi. And at 7:10, it's the Mariners versus the Tigers. Also at 7:10 Eastern, Corbin and the Nationals at Tampa Bay and McClanahan. Rockies at Marlins, Brewers and Reds are all at 7:10 as well. At 8:10 Eastern, Manoah takes the hill once again. His 3rd start since coming up from his debut that took the Major League Baseball world by storm against the New York Yankees. Speaking of the Yankees, Garrett Cole and Dobnak, 8:10 Eastern. And at 8:15, Mejia is at the Cardinals as his Indians will face Wainwright. And at 9:38, it's the Royals and Angels, Keller versus Canning. Tonight in the NBA, there's only one game, and it's not starting until 9:30 on TNT. Denver is at Phoenix for game number 2 in the Western Conference semifinals. In the NHL, the game of the night, the Boston Bruins are at the New York Islanders for game 6, pivotal to keep the series alive. And in the Women's College World Series, it's game 2 and possibly the last game of the season as the championship is on the line. That's over on ESPN. And the men's Super Regionals don't get started till this weekend. And that's your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. Stay tuned for the Armchair Quarterbacks radio show and YouTube Live. Please like, subscribe, and share our show today. The Armchair Quarterbacks, your first choice for sports talk, live from the First Coast. Good morning. It's time to wake up, y'all. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterback Show. We're here weekdays on CBS Radio, YouTube Live, 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 Central, 5 Pacific. The Armchair Quarterback Show, your first choice for Southern sports talk. Good morning, Mr. Sean O'Toole.
Good morning, Mr. Mac McGee. And I don't know much, but I know one thing. I hope we have a good show today. Couldn't find my spider tack. I'm worried my spin rate might be down on some of these takes.
Hi, I'm Mac McGee, and I don't know much, but I know one thing. Are you sure you didn't put spider tack on your screen? You get that blurry going thing going in the background. I didn't know if we were about to stumble into the wrong kind of video here. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks.
Jerry, I've been thinking. I've gone as far as I can go with George Costanza.
Is this the suicide talk or the nickname talk?
The nickname. George. What is that? It's nothing. It's got no snap, no zip. I need a nickname that makes people light up.
You mean like Liza?
I was thinking T-Bone.
But there's no T in your name. What about G-Bone?
There's no G-Bone.
There's a G-Spot.
That's a myth.
T-Bone, the ladies are gonna love you.
Armchair.
Community Access Channel.
He's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The all-American man.
Yeah, howdy, hi. Top of the morning to you. Welcome to the Armchair Quarterback Radio Show. Mac McGee sitting alongside Sean O'Toole. Sean, how the hell are you this morning, sir?
I am fantastic. Enjoyed some great National Hockey League games last night. Sad to see the Carolina Hurricanes get put out of their misery, but sometimes you just run into. Sometimes you're into the buzzsaw.
That's a
and Tampa Bay Lightning look like the buzzsaw at the moment.
We're going to get into the the NHL playoffs here in a second because there's another buzzsaw in Long Island, New York, that's about to take out the Boston Bruins. But we'll get into that in a second. First of all, the first thing I want to talk about, because I found this about this late night, so I wasn't going to text you about it because I don't know what time you go to bed and all that kind of stuff. The Alexa app and the Sidewalk app, are you familiar with what they're doing with your internet?
No, I don't have an Alexa.
Okay. All right. Well, it doesn't matter if you have Amazon. Okay. If you have Amazon and you have an Alexa app, if you have the Ring, which they bought out, couple other apps. Long story short, today they're going to launch a deal where they're going to share your internet bandwidth with your neighbors if their internet goes out. Essentially, so Amazon can keep selling them junk, right? Or if you want to hear your Alexa and your internet's gone out, et cetera, right? And they're trying to paint it as not that big a deal. I think it's an incredibly big deal to assume that you want to share your internet with your neighbor. Because then what's especially, okay, I don't know where you moved to, how far a distance your neighbors are from you, but if they're
pretty close.
Okay, so if they're fairly close, what if Joe, your neighbor, decides, why the hell am I paying for internet? I'll just use Sean. and then you're not getting the show that you're wanting to watch because it's dragging and blipping and blopping. And the hell is Amazon doing?
I'm sure their hearts and I'm sure they think their heart's in the right place, but I don't have, aside from the Amazon app that's on my phone, I don't have any Amazon services plugged into my house.
Horse crap that their heart's in the right place. No way, no freaking how. Because first of all, number one, the bullet, Amazon, one of the most, it's got to be top 5 companies in the world, right? For capital.
Mm-hmm.
Why am I giving my neighbors? Why don't you give my neighbors free free internet? Okay. This is more socialist crap from these huge companies. They're like, well, we'll all just share. Okay, but we're all going to just share. Why don't you just give me Amazon for free then? I'll let Joe, the neighbor, scheme off my freaking Amazon. Okay. I mean, off my internet. If you just waive the damn the Prime membership fees and any kind of shipping,
right.
any kind of shipping, right? Any kind of shipping that comes to me, I don't want to hear about is it Prime eligible. Any kind of shipping that comes to me, you foot the bill, and then I'll let Joe, the neighbor, scheme off my freaking internet. What the hell is going on? I was so pissed when I heard about this because I told my wife, I said, I guarantee you the average Joe has no idea this is going on. You don't have the option to opt out or opt in when they go live today, or maybe it's tomorrow. Today might be the last day. The point is, you don't have the option. You have to know about it and then go into your app and disable it.
Yeah, I'm reading about it right now. I didn't know anything about this. So
yeah, I didn't either. I don't even know where my wife came across. I'm sure it was, some Facebook post or something like that. But yeah, It's unbelievable. And so real quick, if you want to know how to disable it later, you go into your Alexa apps settings, you look for sidewalk, and you disable it. They're calling it sidewalk. Like, ooh, sidewalk.
Yeah.
You know, side hustle is what it is. But you go into that, or if you have the Ring, which we have. I didn't even know that Amazon had bought Ring out. But anyways, they're all putting it together a little nice, and then you got to pay the internet bill. So anyways,
right. This didn't come across my radar because I don't have an Alexa or an Echo smart speaker, and I use Simply Safe for home security. So I that's why this didn't cross my radar. But yeah, that's pretty sketchy.
It didn't cross my radar, and I have it. I was ripping through my freaking apps, disabling apps, and discontinue. I don't even use the Alexa app, so I just went ahead and deleted that damn thing. That thing's worthless. Alexa, play country music. Okay, firing up classical music. Wait, what? No. I don't need Alexa. I need Betty Sue. I need a country girl to interpret what I'm telling her. Alexa's a little too highbrow for me for her to understand what I'm saying. All right, moving on. Najee Harris is impressing folks at Steelers camp is what they're saying. We'll go ahead and hit the first quarter of the Armchair Quarterbacks here. They're saying that he's impressing. Look, this was a news thing yesterday. It'll hit the news cycle. A lot of people were talking about it. I don't know why this is surprising anybody. The guy impressed the hell out of me the entire 2020 college football season, right? And I said all along, the NFL is going to screw up. They're going to let Najee Harris fall to the damn Steelers. They're going to let Mac Jones fall to the freaking to Bill Belichick and the Patriots, and that's exactly what happened. And then you wonder why I won't pick on the Lions today. And then you wonder why the Houston Texans are the Houston Texans, right? Because it all comes from the front office. If you can't see that Najee Harris was the most impressive athlete in this year's draft, I believe. Now, right below, I would probably put the tight end Pitts from Florida that went to Atlanta.
From Florida. Yeah, the one that went to Atlanta.
But Najee Harris, dude, he has muscles in places where people don't have places, and the leaps that we saw him in the college football season, it's unbelievable.
Yeah,
Brian's busting your balls. He said, "Oh, goody, it's Sean today." Laugh out loud.
Oh wow, thanks, Brian. We definitely appreciate you listening. Is that the Panthers fan?
Yeah,
I need to ask him how are the Panthers doing in the Stanley Cup playoffs? We'll get to them in a minute.
Panthers, Hurricanes, Bengals.
Lord, yeah.
He's had a hard enough life, man. Don't pick on him.
Thought being a Detroit sports fan was tough right now. That's pretty bad.
He hasn't had a good year in like 25 years in sport.
I saw a lot of stuff popping up on my feed yesterday for the Lions too, and I think this is NFL training camp boredom season. So there was a post from a few people that were like, "Oh, Jeff Okudah looks really great in Lions camp." And Jared Goff was only 1 from 7. I'm like, come on, stop. Can we stop doing this? Just stop doing this. Najee Harris is a legit player. I will. The one that I'm keeping my eye on the most is really a team like San Francisco, who took what's basically Kaepernick 2.0, a guy who ran the ball a lot, and we don't know what he can really do with his arm, and Trey Lance. Right. And I think he might be really good, but he also, played for, the Jackrabbits or whoever up there. So
it's funny
we'll see.
It's funny you bring him up because we did the 49ers predictions yesterday. And that's the one caveat that nobody knows is that when you get halfway through the season, you're predicting what the 49ers are going to do. You don't know who the hell's going to be behind center, right? I think it's going to be Garoppolo unless a terrible injury or the season just goes to crap. If they're like 2-7 coming out of the gate, they're just going to go, you know what? What's the worst that could happen? I think he's supposedly so raw that Lance isn't going to be able to hit the field early because he just won't. Not only will he not know the playbook enough, which we heard Tua talk about that, right? But it's not just that, but the fact the guy's not going to be able to read defense. I think he's only played like 13 college football games.
13.
And so
you hit the number.
So 13, okay. And oh, by the way, before that, I was running who knows what kind of offense in high school. See, it wasn't 13 games in Alabama, by the way. It was 13 games at North Dakota, right, or North Dakota State, or I don't think he's going to be a mate. But the Najee Harris thing, it's good to hear. Speaking of the 49ers, they've already lost 2 guys for the year. They had a torn ACL on Monday, I think, and then a torn Achilles yesterday. And forgive me, I don't know the names, but they were players that were expected to contribute heavily. So they're already, I mean, that team just cannot stay healthy. We're going to have a debate here because you ruffled my feathers last night picking on the Women's College World Series. And you're going to try to tell me the WNBA is better than the women's.
I didn't say better. I just, you sent me the lineup for the show and said we were covering the Women's College World Series, which I'll be honest, I've been watching the Men's College World Series in baseball. And I'll get to that later because that Arkansas environment Fayetteville was a religious experience.
By the way, and I don't mean to cut you off. Have you ever caught the Texas A&M chant? If someone walks on 4 consecutive pitches, have you ever heard this?
No, I haven't seen it.
So I meant to make it a part of the open of a show one day. It didn't fire, and then it's hard to explain. But the way I do it, I deleted the video, and now I can't find it. Okay, because it was expected to be used on that day. Okay. They do this thing where if you walk them on 4 straight pitches, okay, they don't do it if it's just like a 3-2 walk. I don't believe it's just if you walk them on 4. Then the next guy who's coming up, okay, the entire crowd starts chanting ball 5, ball 5, ball 5. This guy comes on rattle, dude. They got it to ball 8. It was a 3-0 count. He finally throws a strike, and then the crowd got off of him. I was like, that is like the coolest thing ever, man. That is incredible. I wish they would do that in the Battery in Atlanta, right? Just start chanting. That's awesome. It's got to get in your head, you know.
Well, yeah. I mean, we haven't seen that many times in the pros. The one that always comes to my mind is the Pirates fans getting to Johnny Cueto when he was with the Reds and he, dropped the ball on the mound and stuff like that. They just kept razzing him. But I don't watch a lot of regular season college baseball, but once we get to regionals and super regionals, I watch because if the home team that's hosting the regional is good, man, those crowds are some of the most electric things you will see in all of sports. They're into it. They're invested. They have, as you mentioned, really good chance. And they're just, really whomping the other team and trying to get in their head to give their team an advantage. I mean, Arkansas almost lost this weekend. They were behind until the 8th inning and then pulled away. And Arkansas has been, one of the 5 best teams in college baseball all year. So it was just a great environment to see.
To be honest with you, I think they're the best because when you combine their pitching with their hitting. But the thing is, the World Series doesn't start for 2 weeks.
Right.
This is round 1 this coming weekend. That's when it really gets amped up for me.
Super regionals.
Regionals. FSU is out of it, and Florida's out of it. So I don't have anything to pull for or pull against. So now I'm just going to enjoy it. Okay. So I couldn't tell you how happy I was to see Florida go 2 in barbecue. I was like, they lost 19-1 in the second game, and it was in Gainesville.
I wasn't watching the game, but just having my social media feed open, Tony's Twitter told me all I needed to know about what was going on because he was at the game, and I think he was like, time to hit the lake.
He was both of them. He drove down for game 1 after he did our show on Friday, and I didn't know that he was planning on going to game 2, but I guess he just decided because he didn't say he was going to game 2. So he and his dad took game 2, and I started seeing the score, and I was like, as much as I hate the Gators, man, I hate the fact that Tony went down there and just see
right.
Get destroyed. Yeah, I want the Gators to lose, but I would have liked to have seen a more competitive game for him than to. Because you're talking about essentially a 2-hour, 3 to 4 hour round trip, along with getting your brains beat in and the rain delays. But anyways, the Women's College World Series, man, if you have not been watching it, I got into this sport about 5-6 years ago, somewhere in that area. Because before that, the sport to me always bored me because I would watch it and every single game was like 1-0, 2-1. And it felt like a soccer match where if you got a 2-0 lead, it was insurmountable and Giddy barred the door. And I don't know what the hell happened in between, we'll say 10 years ago and about 5 or 6 years ago. But the offense, maybe they're just getting better athletes. Maybe that's got something to do with it. But it's not the same sport as baseball, so I can compartmentalize it in my head. I'm watching fast pitch softball. I'm not watching the girl version of baseball. When I watch the WNBA, I'm watching the very terrible girl version of basketball. And it sucks. And then no one can dunk. And I'm with Shaq. I know they got on him, but I'm with him. Lower the damn rims. Because these girls are athletic. We know they're athletic, but it's unfair for them to play on the same dimensions as the men's because it just makes them look slower and et cetera, et cetera. You don't see the Women's College World Series being held. It's being held in Oklahoma City, right? It's not being held in Omaha at the men's baseball stadium because it would look terrible because these girls wouldn't be able to cover enough ground, et cetera, et cetera. And you would just be like, what the hell are we watching out here? We're going to need 5 outfielders and 6 infielders, right? You don't have the same dimensions. And that's, to me, why it's a different sport. And I can appreciate all sports, but I can't appreciate a sport where you look worse than what the original. Even with soccer, and I've gotten into women's college soccer over the last several years, I still think they should shorten that field just a little bit more. Because I think you need more action. And it takes forever for them to run up and down the field, man. Forever. But it's not as bad as the end. Man, when I watch the WNBA and even the women's college, to that matter, I'm always like, they need to take about 20 total feet off the court and lower the rim by about a foot or so.
Yeah, I was mostly just trying to needle you because you sent me the script, and I went, okay, so women's college softball is cool, but WNBA sucks. But I understand your point, and you're not wrong. I agree that having a sport.
Not to mention, can I put this out here for you? My girls look a lot better in their uniforms than your girls. I'm just
okay.
I
don't really watch the WNBA for anybody who's listening.
If you're gonna get me to watch the WNBA, they need to be like in I don't know, tighter outfits. We'll just put it that way.
I have watched way more women's softball, especially at the college level, over the years than I have any WNBA. Because for anybody who isn't aware, Michigan has a really good women's softball program. Carol Hutchins has been there since 1985. She's won 1,600 career games. We've hosted a couple of regionals, including this year, and been to some super regionals, even played for the national title. I think it was in 15 and 16 when we had Megan Betza, who was really good. She was a 2-time Big Ten Player of the Year. So I understand the appeal of women's college softball. It is actually a lot of fun to watch. The field's, a little bit more compact, obviously, than what you would see if they were playing on a baseball diamond. Women's softball would be ridiculous. So it wouldn't even I don't know how you would score ever if it was the diamond is
score nonstop because unless you're gonna put more outfielders out there, because who the hell's gonna be able to cover that much ground?
Well, that's true. I guess I was thinking about the infield. It's like if you hit it hard enough, they're gonna have all day to throw you out. But
but you're also assuming that they have the arm to get it over there too. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like a third baseman, they might need a cutoff man to get it over to first. I mean, honestly, I'm not even being a spot. They're going to have to cut off man, or you're going to have a goalie play first base because that ball's going to be all over the place. The other thing, so you're going to have to play your outfield a little in for obvious reasons. Obviously, they're not going to hit it as far typically. Man, that ball gets in the gap, it's a wrap. You'd have so many inside the Parkers, it would be ridiculous. But anyways, I've enjoyed it. It's not just because Florida State's doing well. I've watched the Women's College World Series for the last 5 or 6 years. Even when Florida State gets knocked out, I'll watch. I just enjoyed it. I think it's a different sport, and I watch the regular season as well. Now, am I going to watch it over a Braves game or the NBA playoffs, NHL play? No, I'm not being stupid. But last night, I will be honest with you, even with Beth Mallins on the microphone and Jessica Mendoza, I had the volume on that game and I had the video on for the Braves, and I don't normally do that. But
interesting.
But I'm like, it's the World Series. You know, it is what it is. You know, these things won't come around every damn year. So now Michelle Smith, by the way, is phenomenal, and they don't give her enough mic time. I mean, Beth Mowins is just a full-blown disaster. That's the nicest
thing.
I
was just about to ask you what proof of liquid was involved in you listening to Beth Mowins, but you know, it's Florida State, so I understand.
I'm not gonna lie, every once in a while I have to hit the mute button. I just can't with this. And they go to do the wide shot of the three of them pregame, and they're, you know, as they're talking about the pregame, so they got the wide shot so you can see them from head to toe. And I was like, stupid Beth Mowins. I didn't tweet it because I knew nobody would know what I was talking about. But there's Mendoza. She's dressed nice shoes. Same thing with Michelle Smith. Beth Mowins, she's not dressed terribly. Got sneaks on. And I hate that. I'm like, if you're going to wear a suit, man or woman, if you're going to wear a suit, go the extra step and wear some freaking dress shoes. You see it on ESPN all the time. What's the boy's name that ran out the back of the end zone?
Orlovsky.
He's always wearing sneakers with nice suits. You know, suit that he went and got fitted, tailored, right? So he went the extra mile.
Or that ESPN got fitted for him, that Disney paid for. But yeah.
Well, what I'm saying is he went the extra mile, right, to look good, right? And then he brings sneaks to the table. And I'm like, every time I see one of them who do it, I don't see Greeny do it much, but every time I see it, I just want to rip their shoes off and beat them over the head with it. I'm like, what you gonna put some put some nice dress shoes. I'll even give you cowboy boots if they're nice and they're not all scuffed up and you wear the suit. That works as well. Sneakers. The hell? Why don't we just wear jorts while we're at it? I want to call it a wife beater, but I guess that's not PC anymore.
That's not a PC term. Tank top, or Osuna or Ozunas.
I guess they can start marketing those. We better go to break before I get us in trouble.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, that wouldn't be prudent at this juncture. Let's go ahead and take a real quick break. When we come back, we're going to come roaring into the NHL. We got to do our picks. I blathered on too much about what Amazon's trying to screw you on the internet. We'll be back in a flash.
You're riding Morning Shotgun with the Armchair Quarterbacks. We're here weekdays on WAOC 96.5 FM, 1420 AM, and streaming on the Armchair Quarterbacks app. Download it today. Your first choice for sports talk here on the First Coast.
You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on CBS Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
For the first time in 39 years, the Boston Bruins have won the Stanley Cup.
Armchair Quarterbacks Radio, covering the NHL like no other.
What's going on here, guys? All right, coach. So basically, it was a holding call. But these dudes started me in their fantasy league, which is cool because this dude started our quarterback, but he started our kicker and I started their defense. So it's kind of a pickle. Compromising the integrity of this game with your fantasy football leagues? Listen to me. If there was holding, you make that holding call. I don't care if it was on our team or not. I care about this game too much to let you. Coach, you started their defense too, didn't you? Yeah, you definitely started their defense. Damn right I did.
Armchair.
If only the world was less like this.
I could use a smoke.
Hey, put that out.
And more like this.
I could use a smoke.
You murderer! I might have children one day.
Smoking kills, unless you kill first. If you're around a smoker, you will die. Smokers may look relaxed and like they're having fun. Don't believe it. Vote yes on Proposition 421. Let's outlaw smoking everywhere, even in people's homes, and allow honest citizens to legally kill anyone who smokes. Let's live in a world without smokers. Prohibition works. Let's prove it. Vote yes on Proposition 421.
Armchair.
Let's face it, where you're betting is just as important as who you're betting on. That's why I go to mybookie.ag. It's fast, it's easy, and they pay you when you win. Look, I wouldn't be telling you to bet mybookie.ag if they weren't the best. Do the smart thing. If you're going to bet this football season, bet with mybookie.ag. Promo code SKIN. That's SKIN. When you use that promo code, MyBookie will match 100% of your deposit up to $1,000. That's mybookie.ag, promo code SKIN.
Why are you the way that you are? Honestly, every time I try to do something fun or exciting, you make it not that way. I hate so much about the things that you choose to be.
Good morning. Welcome back here to the Armchair Quarterbacks. CBS Sports, and of course our YouTube Live. That thread's going so fast I can't even keep up with it. I looked over to my right a little while ago and I was like, man, Sean and Brian are in this long conversation, and somehow Sean's keeping a conversation going with me. I was like, that's some talent right there, man. Because I didn't even see you look down or anything like that. Let's go ahead and do our picks before I prattle on and we don't get those suckers in. We'll start with our DFS. I'll tell you what, Monday was brutal for DFS.
There were only 3 games. It's rare you see that at this point in the season on the MLB calendar. I don't know if that was planned or if that was due to move doubleheaders or something, but I looked at the schedule and I was like, 3?
There was originally 2 because the Marlins and Red Sox was a makeup day. So when it happened, Sean, I looked all morning to see what freaking holiday is this? Because I thought it was like some holiday I'd never heard of or one that snuck up on me. It's like, what the hell? I was like, why is everybody off? Why is it only these states? Like why are they? Because I knew it wasn't Juneteenth, right? Which I knew everyone's going to make a big deal. When is that going to be? About 12 days from now, or sorry, 10 days from now. So I knew it wasn't that. I knew it wasn't Father's Day. I was like, what the hell is this? I was like, it's not D-Day because the D-Day was the day before. So I still couldn't figure out. You never see a situation where realistically there's only supposed to be 2 games. And Doug and I still did DFS that day. That was brutal. Stack your Red Sox. They're playing the Marlins. Let's go. All right. Where are you going today in DFS, sir? Have I lost you?
Sorry, my daughter knocked on the door. Sorry about that. Never know what a teenager is going to do. Joy of being a parent. A couple names I want to throw out really quick. I actually put in a DraftKings lineup, just a $1 one. And there were a couple of pitchers, especially, that really had me scratching my head as far as their value. Casey Mize is only 6,800 at home against Seattle. And I don't know if people have watched Seattle a lot this year, but they do seem to have some trouble hitting the ball. And Casey Mize has been really good in his last 7 starts. He's going to be somebody that, if it wasn't gone over Saturday on the payoff pitch when I was out, we'll definitely be going over him soon.
So you're going on the night slate, correct?
Right. Yeah, I'm going on. Right. I did find an all-day slate, but it seems like everything on here was after 7:15. So he was one, and then someone that we know very well as Braves fans, Taijuan Walker, pitching in Baltimore against Baltimore's offense, is 8,600. If you get to the top, the tippy top, you've got like Garrett Cole and some other guys going today that are closer to 11,000. I just don't like spending that on pitchers.
By the way, what the hell is Turbo? Do you have any idea?
No idea.
I always
Turbo?
their DraftKings lineups, And it's this turbo.
Okay.
I never want to enter it because I'm like, I don't know what the hell that means, man. That could get.
I have no idea.
It was
what
like
that is.
$70 in like 20 seconds. It'd be like our buddy when we went to. Remember when we went to the casino years ago, and our buddy Austin lost his entire wad in the poker room like in 30 minutes after he had just won this huge amount of money and played the slot like 5 seconds into the hotel. He hits. I don't remember how much money he won, but he won a lot of money for us at that time. We were kids, and next thing we know, weren't you there, Austin? At
the Austins, there's so many Austin stories. You could tell me any of them. The one we always come back to is him trying to get us in a 13-on-3 brawl outside of a nightclub. But I don't remember the casino one.
Okay, I'm pretty sure that you were at the casino. It was
I'm sure I was.
It wasn't Vegas. It was the other place, Tunica. And I want to say it was you, Austin, and then I don't remember. There was a fourth person. I don't remember who it was. But anyways, this dude Austin walks in the freaking casino, wins all this money when he first gets there, probably like $1,000 or so. I want to say it was even more than that. I want to say it was like $2,000 or $3,000 for a guy who put like $1 into a slot or something. And we were young kids, and we're like, damn, man, you're lucky today. This is your weekend. And this dumbass goes and loses it all in the poker room. And comes out like he's about to cry. And I was like, dude, you'd never go into a room that's got its name, the name of it. Because when we say you went to the poker room, that means those dudes know what the hell they're doing in there. I was like, if I play poker, I'm like in some kitchen on a Saturday night. I'm not going to go into the poker room. That's because those guys know what the hell they're doing.
Two responses to that. This will come as no surprise to you, but there are huge spaces of time in my 20s that I don't remember. I think we can all say that. So I don't, that sounds very familiar. So I'm sure I was there. And I always think of the line from Teen Wolf, and I don't remember the whole thing, but the coach of Teen Wolf goes, "There's only 3 rules to life. And one of them is never bet against anybody who's named after a city or a state." I always think about that. It's like never bet against somebody named Tex or Austin.
Never go into a room and play poker, right?
Don't go into the poker room and play poker.
Never.
Bad idea.
The funniest part about that story is he had a girlfriend, and he wanted to get her a gift. And when he won, I said, when he won, I remember telling him, whatever the girlfriend's name is, I don't remember now. I said, you need to go get old girl a gift. He's like, I'm gonna do that on the way out, on Sunday, because I don't want to, have to keep up with it. I was like, all right, dude. He's flat broke by Friday evening.
I'm pretty sure that was the same girlfriend that we told him not to move in with after 3 months of dating. He did, and then was back with us about 3 weeks later.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
Before the sun was down.
Hey! Before the sun was pretty much like, this isn't working out. I'm like, you've been there 45 minutes. We told you not to go. We told you not to do it.
That was driving.
Right, exactly. You took a dresser and she flipped out 2 minutes into you cooking dinner.
One of the pitchers I like today is Wainwright at home against the Cleveland offense.
I eyeballed him. Yeah, that was a good one too.
And then, of course, you got to love Taijuan Walker. He's only 8,600. He's going to be against that terrible Baltimore offense. Of course, I say that as they scored 10 runs on the Mets last night. But that was Peterson.
They scored 10 runs on Peterson, who has been throwing batting practice for about 4 weeks. I don't know what they're doing.
Dude, I've never seen them in the same room together, but they were technically they were supposedly in different cities last night. But I'm convinced that David Peterson is Drew Smiley. Like I feel like
they're both lefties. I think that tracks. So
a couple of lefties who it's going to get. You better score some runs if you're going to win tonight. We're not going to play small ball and get out of here alive. Okay, that's essentially my pick. If I'm going to stack tonight, just looking at the lineup and looking who's pitching, some of the if I'm actually going to go after like a specific pitcher to stack, I'm not convinced that Miami is going to have that great of an outing by Garrett. That would be one. I'm staying away from the Atlanta-Philadelphia series game because I think both pitchers are going to pitch well tonight. And the other guy that would be interesting to me, because he's been up and down, is what's your thoughts about stacking against Griffin Canning with the Royals tonight?
I'm glad you mentioned that. So I've got Carlos Santana and Whit Merrifield in my DraftKings lineup against him. The other one I would mention, Canning, if you've watched enough Angels games, which I have, Canning is a guy who lives in the zone a lot and not with a lot of velocity, so he can be hit. The other one that I would mention, we saw him when he came to Atlanta and just got shelled, is Tyler Anderson's on the mound for the Pirates tonight against the Dodgers. Now, you'll spend a lot on the top of the Dodgers lineup, but in the middle, you've got guys like Will Smith and Gavin Lux that are really affordable. And there's always a chance one of those guys is going to come up with bases loaded and get a BP fastball from Tyler Anderson, who's just, a replacement level pitcher, at this point in his career, pitching in Pittsburgh in front of 75 people. That's got to be a miserable experience.
All right, let's go ahead and go for our picks of the day as we go flying into that. I don't know what the hell I did with that damn sound bite. It's been so long since we even used it. But anyways, the skin in the game. Where are you going at today?
So I'm going to go with the NBA game that you mentioned in the opening that we might not be watching because we might be in bed. It starts at like 9:30 Eastern. But game one was 227 total points. And I actually watched a lot of that. And I don't think Denver played very well at all. Jokic looked out of sorts. They lost Michael Porter Jr. about halfway through. The over for game two is 222.5. I'm actually going to hit the under on this because if Michael Porter Jr. is minimized or is unable to play for the Nuggets, they're actually going to have a hard time unlocking Jokic. And Phoenix one of the great things about the Suns is they can play any style. They can play up tempo. They can play down tempo. Chris Paul's smart enough to know what to do. I actually think this could be a low scoring game. This could be like 100-95. So the under is getting some good leverage on DraftKings and on BetMGM on the FanDuel where I've seen it. It's at 222.5. I would take the under. That's mine for today.
Okay, mine. I kind of just previewed it a second ago. Taiwan Walker is only minus 130. He at Baltimore going up against Matt Harvey. I know Matt Harvey might have a little extra oomph because he's playing against his old team, the Mets, but it's not like he's in Gotham, right? So I just think the Mets are going to be hard to beat today with Walker on the hill. If you haven't watched Taiwan Walker pitch this year, has been phenomenal. They will be a little more familiar with him because he's going back to the American League to pitch. So it makes me a little nervous because Walker was up and down when he was in the American League. But that's what I'm going to take is Walker minus 130 on the road at 7:05 first pitch. All right, let's go ahead and dive into the NHL playoffs real quick because we haven't had a chance to talk about that at all. And looking at the NHL playoffs. So we've got tonight. Well, first of all, real quick for people who missed it, Lightning knocked out the Hurricanes last night 2-0. And then the Knights, the Golden Knights, they're about to do some shocking things themselves.
They really are.
3 games to do against Avalanche. After game one, I thought that series might be a wrap. I was like, my God, they got blown out. And Colorado was playing incredible hockey. Now they're fighting for the playoff lives. Two teams, two of the better teams in hockey this year, if you go by records.
Yep.
It's kind of difficult to do because of the way that it was set up. But we'll get more into that. Tonight, Bruins Islanders.
Yeah.
Bruins are playing for their lives. I do expect a hell of a game. But I think if the Islanders are going to win, they got to put it away tonight. I don't like going back on the road games.
No.
I'm assuming that game would be Friday night. Let me see if it's actually, yeah, it'd be Friday night if there's a.
It'll be Friday night, 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central, if it goes that far, which is, whoo, boy, will that be an experience. I hope it doesn't go that far for your sake and for Trotzy. I love Trotzy, having been, Nashville's coach for as long as he was.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that the Islanders need to do is keep Marchand in check and make sure that he does not get going. And so obviously you have to put bodies on him and whatnot. But that series has been what surprised me the most about the Islanders. Like I pay attention to the regular season to a degree, but I don't really watch a lot of Islanders games. But what surprised me so far about this series and the Islanders in general is that they find so many different ways to score and put the pressure on the opposing team. And I think that's what they got to do tonight. They need to get that first goal and jump on Boston and get them to start sweating, and maybe they make some mistakes and New York can capitalize, because like I said, I don't want to see this thing go 7.
I don't think the Islanders want to see this go 7 either. They have actually done a really good job on some players who I thought would be a problem. The perfection line, which is what is the nickname in the NHL community for that top line of Marchand, Bergeron, and Pasternak. They've gotten their points. They've certainly been effective. The thing that the Islanders have done really well is use their top defensive pairing, Pelech and Pulock, to really bottle up that second line that has Craig Smith, David Krejci, and Taylor Hall on it. That line has not done very well. In the games where Boston has won, they have, but in the games that the Islanders have won, they haven't. The thing that surprised me is how easily Eberle, Barzal, Kamarov, Beauvillier, Nelson, and Bailey, the top 2 lines of the Islanders, have gotten into the attack zone and gotten through Boston's defensive line to just, keep the puck in the attack zone and put pressure on Tuukka Rask. If they do that tonight, this is going to be over. The idea of sealing, I don't know that Montreal can get past Vegas or Colorado. We don't really need to go into that right now. I think that's unlikely, but Montreal getting this far was unlikely. So who knows? The idea of seeing a Montreal New York Islanders Stanley Cup final just warms my heart as an NHL traditionalist. That would just be so much fun. And I kind of hope we do get that. But the Lightning look like the 700-pound bull in the woods. I mean, they look unstoppable right now. So if there's a team that can stop them, it would be the Islanders. I don't think the Bruins could beat the Lightning at all.
And whoever gets past, what I'm excited about is the next round. We're finally going to get to see different teams play each other, because they've all been playing the same little bubble all year long. And so we don't really know how good the Canadians really are. What if they're a fraud?
Sure.
And then at the same time, what if they're a juggernaut? Because they look like a juggernaut at this point. Well, they rattle off like 7 wins in a row. But who did they beat? And so that's a fair question. But you can throw that same argument back and forth. That's what I'm really excited about. Let's go ahead and transition over into the NBA. See tonight. Well, first of all, Jokic, is he your MVP?
Absolutely, no question. I don't like to waste a lot of oxygen responding to the Max Kellermans and Nick Wrights of the world, because they're just playing a part in a play. They're just out there doing hot takes to try and get clickbait. But the people who say he's not the MVP or he's the most embarrassing MVP ever, come on, stop. He was the best player. He wasn't the best player on the best team because they weren't the best team, but he was by far the best player in the better conference on a team that was a 3 seed.
Well, I think something too, and I haven't heard these arguments that you're talking about, but if Kellerman's complaining, his company, Disney, came up with, they invented the PER stat, right?
They sure did.
He's ranked number 1 in that stat. So if he's got an issue with why people voted for him, you need to yell at your company, because I think that's the main reason why he won, was because we've got now the analytics have creeped over into all sports when it comes to accolades and whatnot. And I think that's why he won it, because nothing he did was outstanding. Nothing he did was the best. He wasn't the top scorer. He wasn't the top anything, but he was number 1 in PER. And that's basically their war, And
PER was created by John Hollinger when he was at ESPN before he went to work for the Grizzlies, and now he works for the Athletic, and Kirk Goldsberry, who's a noted statistician, used to work for the San Antonio Spurs front office. So your history on that is absolutely correct. Okay. Your history on that's absolutely correct. PER is a contrived stat that's basically basketball war, and he's number 1. And the argument that Kellerman and Nick Wright I've heard make is, this guy doesn't look like a superstar. He plays in a non-superstar market, all the typical New York, LA stuff. The ratings are going to suck because it's not the Knicks and the Lakers. And I just
that same argument you can make that same argument for Max Kellerman and Nick Wright's career. You don't really look like a superstar. You're not in a superstar market there, Bristol. So it's like, I know Wright's with Fox in LA and stuff.
Fox, yeah, FS1.
But you catch it when I'm pitching. I used to try to listen to during the pandemic when everything was shut down. They started coming back. I was listening to a lot of Sirius XM, and you would listen to Mad Dog Radio, and I had to just learn to jump the hell off there the moment that Chris Russo's show was ending, because Nick Wright follows him, and it is brutal. And then sometimes he'd trick you and he'd fill in for Russo on his show, like, get it off. And I mean, it is brutal because he just prattles on about the NBA nonstop and trying to give hot takes. And he'll do it like in the middle of, like, the season's over, and he'll do it in the middle of like a pennant chase. You're like, why are you talking about this right now? Oh, that's right, because you don't know baseball and you have a kind of a grasp on football. Speaking of baseball, before we run out of here, MLB's cracking down. It could be coming in the next several days where they're going to have the umpires going to start coming out to the mound to look for spider tack and anything else. It's like a sticky substance.
Sunscreen, rosin. Yep.
Right. Now, here's the interesting thing for people who haven't been paying attention to this. Josh Donaldson shot his mouth off about Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole was peppered with questions. It's either yesterday or the day before about it.
It was yesterday. Yeah, it hit yesterday.
And he kind of sidestepped it. He never denied it. But the point is, 8:00 Eastern in Minnesota, Garrett Cole's taking the mound against Josh Donaldson. Booyah! And the funny thing about this that I did not know, so I guess Trevor Bauer had tweeted out about 3-4 years ago, basically admitting that he did it and everyone else does it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know I had heard, I don't remember it, but as much college baseball as I watch, I'm sure I saw it, just don't remember it. I know that I had heard that Garrett Cole, and Trevor Bauer were teammates at UCLA. What I did not know, they didn't get along. They didn't get along at all. Evidently, they despise each other. Something to do with the fact that Garrett Cole's more of a team guy, more of a rah-rah, for lack of a better term, he's a good fraternity brother type of thing. Mm-hmm. Trevor Bauer, to no shock to anyone listening, he's not. He's his own man, right? And so those two did not get along. And so Trevor Bauer's been kind of needling this whole thing. And then, of course, everyone always points to when Verlander left the Tigers, he was looked on the backside of his career, looked like he was about to just vanish.
Fall off cliff.
When Garrett Cole left the Pirates, he was good. Everybody knew he was good, but he was never locked down. Holy crap, we're going to give him $300 million good.
Elite. Yep.
Right. He was always like, man, if he could just get his control together. Both of them go to Houston with banging trash cans and whatnot. And evidently they got all this spider tack. And now you got Cy Young out there on the mound. So what say you on this? I think they're making a bigger deal out of it than what it is, because they've always cheated the ball in baseball. So yeah, you got to crack down to stop it because you want more offense. But people are like, oh, cheaters, throw them out of the game. It's like they've been doing this since the beginning of time.
Right.
What say you?
Yeah, I had a long conversation with a friend this morning about it because it hadn't crossed his radar. He was like, did you see all this stuff with the spider tack and yada, yada? I'm like, pitchers have been cheating since the 1920s. This isn't new. They were scuffing the ball in the 1920s. That. Probably. Right. I'm just going back
definitely. To it was right around 1920. I don't remember the year, but it was right around 1920 that they outlawed. Before this, it was fine. They had to outlaw the spitball.
Right.
And the only reason why they outlawed the spitball was because when the kid came up to the plate and got hit in the temple, I always forget his name. It's a bad job by me. He got hit in the temple and he died on the spot. People tried to attribute it to the spitball. No one had attributed to the fact that they were playing at dusk with no lights. They used the same baseball over and over and over again. So the thing was like gray, and it hit the dude in the dome, and he was dead. And so, as bad as that is, and awful that is, get over it. It's been 100 years. Don't at me today. But you think about the family. The family's dead too. Shut up. But my point is, that was when they first began demanding they got rid of the spitball, but they grandfathered. It's a grandfather clause. So if you were playing pre-rule and you were a spitballer, you could continue to spitball, that's even weirder, right? That they grandfathered that in.
Right.
But the main reason why they started going to brand new baseballs and all that was because the guy died on the field. If he hadn't died on the field, that's why when everyone says dead ball era, oh man, they couldn't do this again. Dude, they were hitting a freaking brick by the 8th inning. I mean, it was muddy. They used the same ball over and over and over again.
Right. You couldn't get it out of the infield. Yeah. Right.
It's crazy. But anyways, finish your point.
No, that was it. Is this has been going on forever. We have these fluctuations in the league, and the people that are getting outraged about Major League Baseball, in my opinion, in this issue, aren't real Major League Baseball fans because they haven't read any baseball books. If you read any books about baseball history, you will see that there are always these periods of advancements, either in technology or science, or people just pick up on something. And we have these periods of, I don't like to call it cheating, but of one side getting an easy advantage over the other. And then everything rights itself. We don't need to move the mound back a foot and do all this extra stuff. The hitters are going to figure it out. And if they start watching the pitchers, guys will use it a little bit less. And guess what? Then you got to pitch to Austin Riley in the middle of the zone. And guess where that ball's going? That's a souvenir, fella. So, this stuff, people just don't let nature take its course. Everything's got to have an immediate reaction. And it's just like, police the pitchers a little bit better. Don't let them be using sunscreen and all the crap they're using to get their RPMs way up. And guess what? I bet you Trevor Bauer will start looking a lot more human, and Garrett Cole too. So this will right itself. Baseball always has a way of righting itself.
And I think when they crack down, you're going to start seeing all these pitchers look a lot more human. You're going to get more offense, and everyone's going to be here by July or August.
Right.
And
exactly.
What that means is, if you got Garrett Cole in your fantasy team, you might want to trade him.
Trade him now. Get him out of there.
You want to trade him before first pitch today, man. I've got him in a league. It's a dynasty league. I can't get rid of him, so it is what it is. But if it was a one and done league, hey, what's going on over here? Let me get who's the hottest batter of the week. All right, let's go ahead and turn back time and do our walk-offs to get the hell on out of here. All right, here we go. For once, I didn't have. Oh, by the way, speaking of baseball books, I got to bring it to the show next Wednesday. Let me feel that for a second. My stepfather found a book for me, gives it to me, had no idea, just found it. He was in a random store in North Carolina, and he gives me a book. He goes, I thought you would like it. That book is the exact same damn book that made me fall in love with baseball. My grandfather had the exact same copy 30-something years ago. And I could never find it because I could never remember the name of it. He hands it to me like, that's the freaking cover. And it was basically the 50-year anniversary of the Hall of Fame at the time. And they were just going over the players. But I remember reading it cover to cover. Every summer I went up there to see my grandparents, and I just loved it. I would read it all the time. My mom was like, why in the hell are you reading this? It's the same book. I was like, because I forget. It's a year later. It's not true. I just enjoyed the hell out of it. And, because then I would find these statistics or stories and go bring it up to my grandfather, and he would obviously remember it because he grew up in Brooklyn and lived during the greatest era of baseball and was like, oh yeah, that was, So anyways, it was really cool. I was like, I could not believe it. I was like, and it's even got a tear on the freaking cover, like the on the jacket,
right?
I was like that's almost like the grandpa's was ripped all to hell everywhere, but I'm sure that was 90% of me doing that. Okay. All right, back to turn back time. Sorry. All right, in this date, speaking of dead ball era, At the Baker Bowl, Honus Wagner in 1914 becomes only the second player in history to collect 3,000 hits when he doubles off of Mayor of Philadelphia. Cap Anson was the only player in Major League history to do that prior to. So that is on this date and turn back time. And then also on this date in 1985 in the Boston Gardens, the dirty Los Angeles Lakers beat the great Boston Celtics 111-100 for a 4-2 series victory. Finals MVP, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, does not get enough love as a GOAT.
Nope.
Everyone always goes to everyone else. Even when they talk about centers, they always go Chamberlain. They always go Russell. Then some idiot will go, what about Shaq? Couldn't hit a free throw. But no one ever brings, they'll go Hakeem Olajuwon. Dude, I think that's the best center I ever saw was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Problem is I didn't see him in his prime, so it's hard for me to. The best center I saw in his prime was Hakeem, but I think Kareem is right there with him. I talk about this all the time, but why the hell hasn't anyone figured out how to do that sky hook again? You couldn't stop it. It could not be stopped. Analytical that.
It's your birthday today.
Happy birthday! Who do we got on the birthday bus today? It's kind of a Teddy Bruschi. How about that? We'll grab him. He's 48 years old today. He's almost my age. Well, I'm almost his age. I turned 48 later this year. God, Teddy Bruschi, do something with your life already, man. New England Patriot, obviously Super Bowl champion. I like Bruschi. He's one of the few people on ESPN that I still like. And you know what? I remember this from last year. Him and Jeff Saturday shared the birthday. I remember talking about this.
Interesting.
Jeff Saturday. What I didn't know about Jeff Saturday, because I guess I didn't read it last year, he's from Atlanta. I don't know why, but I thought he would be Midwest because he played for the Colts. But that bastard better be a Braves fan. That's all I know. What is your walk-off for the day?
My walk-off for the day is go Isles. We talked about it earlier, but I'm pulling for the Isles to get past the Bruins. Isles Lightning is a series that I don't know what you're going to do when they play each other, but that's something I'm definitely very much looking forward to, and I'm kind of just hoping they put the Bruins away.
Well, the Islanders, the team of my youth, if they do face each other, I have to pull for the Islanders, but I'm kind of in my own personal hell because that's obviously two of my favorite teams, but I've got, plus the fact that Tampa Bay just won it makes me say the Isles need a freaking championship, right?
Right.
I don't know. I've thought about that a lot because when I did my, pre-playoff look at it, I was like, man, there's a good chance that the Isles and the Lightning are going to face each other. And I'd like to see Trotz get one. I'd like to see, it would just be a really cool story for New York and whatnot. Tampa's had enough love over the last.
They've had pretty good last 18 months.
Yeah.
Shall we say.
The Rays, the Bucks, the Lightning. Jeez. And they were in the state of Florida, so they didn't even go through the COVID hell that was New York.
Exactly.
Get in your house. I was just getting the mail. Get in your house. My walk off for the day. I'll tell you what. You talk about busy television day for me. All at the same time, we're going to have Braves Phillies. You can get into the Braves. Braves Phillies. We're going to have Women's College World Series. Excited about that. That's actually a half hour earlier, y'all, today. So it's 7:00 Eastern. And then, of course, the Isles. It's all going to be going on at the same time.
That's a lot going on at once.
Yeah. I know my neighbors are confused because there's a lot of noise coming from my house. And they're like, it is not football season. And it is not, it is not October. What the hell is going on in there? It's cricket championships. What the hell is he watching? All right, brother. Great job. Just a quick programming reminder. You can catch Sean and Steven Saturdays, 10 a.m. Eastern. We do a fantasy baseball analytics show. I'll give you an analytic number for you today, Sean. 31 barrels, and that was before last night's game, so there's at least 32 now. 31 barrels Ronald Acuna Jr. leads major leagues in a number of barrels this year at 31. That was yesterday before the game. So,
and he had a good night last night, so that number is up.
He beat that freaking ball like it owed him money last night, man. That was a great game. We will see you on Saturday, and y'all remember we've got Braves Country Today coming to you at the top of the hour, and then we just started that little 5 to 6, 7 minute show that comes on. It'll be released at noon Eastern, where I just do a couple of the big stories. If you don't have time to watch a full show, just kind of like cut to the chase. It's called Take Me Out to the Ball Game. All right, brother. Great job. We'll see you Saturday.
See everyone Saturday.
Goodbye, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. We're back tomorrow with another show. Well, unless we're fired, we'll talk to you then. Goodbye, sweetheart. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Guys and gals, it's time to go. We'll see you on the next show.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Thanks for listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on these CBS Sports affiliates and catching the show on YouTube Live. We're here weekdays. Find Armchair Quarterbacks on YouTube Live today. Please subscribe and share and take us everywhere you go. The Armchair Quarterbacks, your first choice for Southern sports talk, live from the First Coast.